You're listening to the Cambridge Insider Podcast. On this episode, hosts Mariah and Stephen wrap up Season 6 with a market update and how to best prepare for this next upcoming school year. This episode is sponsored by Notre Dame Academy. Located in Los Angeles, California, Notre Dame is a Catholic all-girl high school dedicated to empowering young women to rise to their purpose and develop their unique skills. Thanks for listening.
Cambridge Insider Podcast time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. As always, my co-host, Mariah Thompson. How are we?
I'm doing good. I can't believe it is almost the end of the school year. And also this past spring marks my 5 years with Cambridge. So it's just, time is flying.
Congratulations. It's a huge
Thanks.
milestone. I know I speak not just for myself, but our entire team that you've been a huge asset. I know all the schools that you've interacted with, even indirectly with a lot of the marketing stuff you've been involved in. It's been a huge plus for them as well. So congrats. It's been great having you.
Thank you.
It is absolutely the end of the school year, right? So always a reminder when we get to the end of the school year, schools, program heads, directors of admissions, this is a great time to, take a note of what's happening college matriculation wise. Katie Chen in our, global office marketing department is always reminding us that she's looking for stories. She's looking for success stories. Where are students going for college? How have the grades been? Those are all great success stories that you can continue to share with Cambridge through this time because they are hot marketing property during this time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
you can go.
And I just wanted to say to all of our students who are graduating, a huge congratulations. I know that this is a small part of the overall journey, but it is still very significant. And I know we're going to be, a lot of our team are attending graduation ceremonies over the next, couple of weeks. But congratulations to everybody that's been involved in the student success, our school partners, the people at Cambridge, moms, dads, host parents, dorm parents, and of course the students themselves.
Couldn't said it better myself. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the words come to me, and it
does.
Just sort of rolls off. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of a sort of a recap of what's happened this year, a final market check-in. I believe, Mariah, this is our final episode for season
6.
Season 6, my word. Anything you have to say after 6 seasons?
Thanks for always listening. I'm glad that after 6 seasons we still have things to talk about, and because the market is ever changing, but also there's just good things happening still. We had this podcast going through COVID and post COVID, so this podcast has seen a lot. We got a new administration this year, so it's seen a new administration, and we still have things to talk about. And even today, we'll talk about that as well. So this podcast has seen a lot, so it's cool.
Absolutely, we have seen a lot. We appreciate you all listening. Remember to like, listen, subscribe, and send us questions. Even during this downtime, we will be monitoring all of our existing accounts to connect with all of you. And if you have questions, we'll be happy to answer those. So. I think in terms of coming to the end of the season and coming to the end of the school year, we always want to remind schools that, this is a great time for you from an international, program perspective, but also an overall budget-wise planning perspective at a school level, at an overall school level. This is a great time to take stock of your international program. How has it gone the last 12 months as we head to the end of this fall recruitment season? What are some of the things that you've maybe done really well at, and what are some of the things that you want to improve upon, that you want to change within your program? Now is the time to take stock of that, and now is also the time to make really important decisions for the 26 season. Spring of 26 is legitimately around the corner. I remind people of this, but the agents that we work with, our sales team members, our digital marketing campaigns, as soon as we sort of close the door on fall recruitment, we are switching gears to spring. And oftentimes there are big events that are happening over the summer. Agents have sort of renewed energy and vigor to learn more about programs for that spring, of 26 season. So you need to be making decisions now. Too often We were talking about this before the show, but too often we get schools that come to us in April, May and go, oh, well, we haven't really gotten where we wanted to go. What can we do in these last months? And although we do still work really hard and push out some great stuff and see a lot of success stories, you don't need to put your program in that sort of strife. The market is what it is. Now's a great time to really plan. If you need additional budget, now's the time as your school and as your board plans budget-wise to go to them and talk about investment in the international program. Now's the time to talk about where you want your international numbers to be and how do you get there. And if you have questions about that, we will certainly be able to answer those.
Yeah, and we don't say that just be like, hey, you're too late, don't come. We're just saying, come, we're used to it. We know that this is a typical time. So if you've been hesitant because you know you're late, still come, because we've been through this before with schools.
Absolutely. I got off a call yesterday with a school that is about to sign it's a boarding program that's about to sign a new, a partnership agreement with us, including Cambridge Enhanced Marketing on top of that partnership agreement. And I just love and am excited about the fact that this program is planning ahead. They came to me, the email conversation was, let's jump on a call. Our proposed start date for this is July 1. And these are the reasons we want to start July 1. And it had to do with budget, but it also had to do with the understanding of what had happened this year and what their goals were for 2026. So it was such a sense of relief from my side to sit with somebody and be able to look at the 12 months ahead and be able to say, we have a month or two to do all your onboarding, to get you set up. And then July 1, we are kicking off for that 2026 season. So it was refreshing to have.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And, yeah, absolutely. We encourage all of our partners to do likewise.
Yeah. And so I think that is a good wrap up for end of the school year for schools. Just going off some of our past episodes we've had in the last few months, I did want to touch back on some of the topics we've discussed and you've discussed kind of in depth because you've seen changes like this happen. But especially what's just happened this week politically. So I just wanted to touch back on that. I'm sure schools are wanting to still hear perspective, what this means for international education, what's it just mean for them in this?
Yeah, great question. I think so important to talk about that, right? We saw, just in our market, the international education F1 sort of high school market, but across the board, we saw a lot of extreme reactions. And from Cambridge's side, we kept saying the market goes through fluctuations. We've seen that for 20 years of this international market, whether it be geopolitical or otherwise. So when things happen, our advice is always sort of stay even keel, continue to plan, continue to put your best foot forward, continue to give those sort of incremental little habits and steps every day within your program, whether that be investing or interview skills or how you recruit students or what your goal setting is or going on these trips. Do that every day and you're likely over 10 years to be successful. This week, just to give some context for those of you that maybe don't know, but there was sort of a miniature trade deal between specifically China and the US. And we certainly don't want to get political about that because that's not the idea here. But what that has done is it's given renewed energy and renewed vigor to the market.
Yeah.
Suddenly people have gone from the international market is dead. Students don't want to come here. Nobody has money. There are these tensions. There's this hatred between these nations to, hey, things have calmed down. The trade deal is in place. We can actually get along. Maybe students do want to come here. I think the bottom line about something like that, again, other than reminding yourself to stay even keel as these geopolitical factors take place, is to understand what that means. When there's a trade deal, specifically for our clientele, our students and families, a lot of them are small business owners. And a lot of those small businesses are and may be in manufacturing and import and export. So when there are trade deals that get made, those businesses tend to do well, tend to do better, just like when there's a stronger economy overall. And what does that mean? Families have more money to be able to invest in their students' education. So this week was huge for the industry in terms of families and the economic side of things. But again, more so than being a real positive, which we want to be happy about, we do just want to remind you that this is the up and down of the market. Don't get too down, don't get too up. continue to do the things that you know work. And if you have questions about how to attack this market, connect with us. No strings attached. Let's just have a conversation about what the market is like and what you should be doing to try and be as successful as possible.
Yeah, and I just want to say that it kind of just shows some validity to what we had spoke about a couple months ago. Basically, we're sitting here talking about the other end of it, and basically you were just like, hang tight, everyone. It's going to be okay. And it is. So I just want to give some credit towards there of, just in prediction and knowing the market and seeing the things that you have seen. It just gives some credibility to your expertise in this. Yeah.
And I think it's sad for me thinking back. I sat, what are we now, May, maybe beginning of January. I sat with two school partners who, when we spoke about the planning part of things, who were really planning out their attack on sort of the fall of 25 and then 2026 spring and 2026 fall, and thinking about how they can combine certain strategies from Cambridge's side, be that an investment in the digital or going on trips, how they could combine that with their own strategies to be able to reach their international goals. And two of those partners who were so well poised and had planned everything said to me at that time, we're not doing this anymore because of what's happening. Mm-hmm. And I cautioned them. I said, this is a very natural part of the market. It ebbs and flows like this. To hinge your decision just on that means that you're never going to make a decision because the market is up and down. Yeah. And now looking back, it's sad to think that they could have been 6 months ahead of the game, and they're not. And they still valued partners, but I strongly believe they are behind where they could have been had they made other decisions. So I think it's just a lesson in terms of remain calm, continue to do the things that work and connect with us. That's why we're here. We are experts in the industry, and we want to be able to give you that guidance.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. If you are listening and you still have questions, please feel free to reach out. Stephen or I can hop on a call and walk you through that all.
Absolutely. I want to mention one final thing as we sort of head in. If I were to take anything from the market of 2026 or 2025, and as we head into the close, I think a couple of things to really, or one thing in particular to really remain sort of cognizant of is the competitiveness of the market and how that comes down a lot of the time to price point, right? So from Cambridge's side, we're looking at a lot of things from our side. How can we minimize our costs? How can we make it more affordable? And I know that we've had this conversation with many schools, but I urge schools as well, if you do have downtime in the summer and you are planning, that needs to be a part of that conversation, is how do we, at the very least, get in line with what we are charging domestically. The market has shifted, and I urge you as a school, official, as somebody in charge of an international program, to recognize that and a plan accordingly, because it is frustrating, I think, for many schools that have exorbitant international fees to not move the needle, and a lot of that comes down to the price point. And if you aren't able to shift the price point, how do you market to that new price point, to that more expensive price point? That's something to consider as well.
Yeah, and I think we have an episode on the price point and what that means and how you can shift that, so I can put it in our show notes as well.
Absolutely. Mariah, any final sort of thoughts as we come to the end of season 6?
No, just don't be a stranger in the summer, even though if we don't have episodes. If you want to listen back to old episodes, reach out. We are still working. We're just not producing content. So feel free to still reach out to us in the summertime.
Absolutely. To all of our listeners that have been a part of the journey in season 6, we appreciate you. We will be back after the summer, and Mariah will be putting things out on all of our channels about when we will launch season 7. We look forward to that, and congratulations to everybody as we go through graduation season. Enjoy the summer, and we'll catch you around the next episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Cambridge Insider Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. For more Cambridge updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Have a great week and stay connected.